Hello and welcome to India Mattresstech. This is the ninth edition, and I'm your host Shanakshi Chakravarti. Today, this is a trade fair expo. If you don't know already, where we discuss, we see, and we are witness to some of the latest innovations and technology in the mattress industry and the sleep industry and sleep accessories and everything related to the bedding industry in India, with some of the key stakeholders and key players, not just in India but also globally, taking part in this trade fair expo. I am joined by Mr. Ramakrishna Vedanathan. He is the business head at Livpure Solutions, and I would like to deep dive more into how Livpure has now ventured into the mattress industry for the last couple of years or a little bit more. But before that, I would like to first thank you for taking time out for your participation and association with us at India Mattresstech. My first question to you, since we are talking about sleep and mattress, how good of a sleep did you get last night?
It was a bit of challenge because there was a lot of anxiety. I had taken early morning flight. So sleep is the one topic which is least understood by a lot of humans, because that's something which you can't measure as such directly. So the best way to check about how you slept well is how fresh was your morning.
Right.
It was indeed fresh. Sleep is an essential part, and you need to have attention. One species which basically doesn't pay enough attention in terms of the sleep hours or the sleep cycle is human beings. We take it for granted.
Yeah.
But being part of the industry and representing this industry, I would say that this is a very, very essential topic that every human being needs to address and be very conscious in terms of how well they've slept.
Okay. How would you define a good sleep? Is it just the number of hours, or is it more? Are there more factors involved in a person having a good sleep?
So there are two elements to it. One is the quantity of sleep. So there's nothing called as an ideal sleep. It depends on how much restfulness we have. Good 6-8 hours of sleep is fine from a quantity perspective. It also impacts in terms of how is the quality of sleep. There are different stages as we sleep, starting from a light stage of sleep to a deep state of sleep to a, you call the random rapid eye motion, which is the one of the deepest and most restorative phases of sleep.
Yeah.
So having a mix of the right quantity, at the same time having the quality of sleep, is essential for someone to have both the physical, physiological and mental restoration.
Right.
Sleep is basically a restorative part of human cycle, and each night going through the right balance of quality and quantity of sleep is essential.
We'll get into the slightly technical side of things a little later into the conversation, but I'd like to understand from you an event like this, an expo like this, which is so significant for industry players like yourself. How important do you think it is really at the ground level for stakeholders and industry experts like yourself to come under one roof, one platform, to come and discuss the innovation and the latest technology in the sleep and mattress industry?
Right. So when we talk about the timing of this event, right? So it holds a significance in itself, because generally when you talk about seasonality of sleep, it's usually towards the second half of the year, where which we call the business end of the year. That's when a lot of churn in terms of the sell through happens. So most brands like us, we do our planning at this moment, which is typically between Jan to March phase, and this event is one of the flagship events of the sleep industry in some sense, where we have brands, we have small manufacturers, large manufacturers, tech leaders, and which could be, say, for example, a fabric manufacturer, different facets which goes into a mattress or a home furnishing product like a pillow. That gets addressed here. We are able to witness what the industry is going through in terms of a transition, what different brands come up with respect to innovation, manufacturers, what do they have to offer. Quite interesting perspective in terms of sessions also that happened here. So we observe a lot of these things, and then we start testing out in terms of what each brand, or for me from Livpure's point of view, what do we need to do in terms of getting the right product market fit and building out the right value proposition to the customer. So this event and its timing helps us a lot in terms of that particular slide.
Right. Let's now talk about this industry a little bit. I'm trying to understand what are some of the industry or the myths in this industry which you'd like to bust. Like I understood from one of my previous conversations where a certain gentleman said that having a hard mattress is a big no-no. I mean, there's a myth to that. It's a big myth. So is there a myth that you'd like to bust for our audience who probably think that this is right but is not?
Sure. So I I bring this analogy. So there's nothing like a transparent steel. You would have never heard about transparent steel. Nobody would be able to build it. So it's the same way. There is no ideal mattress. So the mattress that I would prefer versus my spouse would prefer be completely different. Which is also where the industry is heading in some sense, because there is a lot of personalization that is sought. Customization and personalization would be the key two pillars where consumers are seeking value proposition in this industry. And that's where we as a brand and Livpure are also heading. For us, you might also have this conversation as to why a brand Livpure, which is largely into appliances,
Right.
is in the space of mattresses
To
or
ask you. Yes. Yeah.
glad I preempted that.
Yeah.
So for us, this is an extension of health and wellness.
Right.
As a category, when we look at water purifier or be it air cooler or mattresses, we basically extend the value proposition, which is health and wellness, across different product lines. Of course, the capability, the channel, the consumers, all those adjacencies do exist. But the core value proposition continues to remain health and wellness. And that's where we see as an opportunity for us to work in this industry.
Right. As you mentioned from our conversation prior to this interview, Livpure has ventured into the mattress industry for the last 3 years.
Been about 5 years.
5 years.
So it's been part of our thought process for past 7-8 years.
Right.
Financially, we became active, which means we started selling the products somewhere about 4.5 to 5 years ago.
Right.
So
So, approximately 5 years. What are some of the trends that you've seen in the last 5 years? If you can take us through those trends, especially some major shifts.
Sure.
In consumer shifts, like the way consumer was consuming the products from the sleep and the mattress industry 5 years ago versus now,
Okay.
especially at a time when everything's up on Instagram.
Sure. So in terms of materials, there has been phenomenal innovations with respect to materials and the consumption of the same. As I said, the two key pillars which has been evolving and where consumers also seek those selections are personalization and customization. Now, one of the major pillars or drivers for this trend has been the growth of digital mattresses. I would say mattresses which are sold in digital platforms,
Yeah.
where consumers are able to see and understand. So there's no information asymmetry in a digital platform, unlike a retail platform where two different stores might have a completely different story to offer to a consumer about the same mattress. That information asymmetry, having more choices, and consumers also seeking more selection. So it's a selection heavy category because there are quite a lot of furniture sizes. Consumer preferences vary in terms of what thickness of mattress they need to select and all that. So from that point of view, there is an evolvement with respect to the choices that the consumers are seeking, what sizes they want, what personalization they want, and in terms of materials.
Right.
Materials, there is a significant, I would say, interest from consumers for eco-conscious materials, which is why we see a lot of stalls here, and there's a growing and emerging trend in terms of materials like latex. We have eco-conscious fabric, which are the natural types of fabric which are friendly to the skin, safe to kids and elderly. So those are choices of materials which are coming in. And more importantly, I think 5 years earlier to now, in terms of consumption pattern, there are two significant changes that has happened, or I would call this as emerging trends. One is mattresses were always seen as a commodity versus the emergence of a concept of sleep and sleep science dominating the consumer's thought process before choosing a mattress.
Right.
There is an evolvement of, you can call the laddering, right? A consumer goes from a very basic mattress and then goes into a slightly better offering, which could be a foam mattress or a combination mattress. And then they look at specific use cases as to what they need. The second thing is in terms of replacement of mattresses, which used to be around 11-12 years. Like I buy a mattress, I replace it after 10-12 years. Unless there is a mandatory need, I don't look at changing that. But purely from a hygiene point of view, continuous need to have the comfort, consumers are changing it every 7 years. So the shift of replacing a mattress from 12 years to 7 years is something which is, again, been a key driver for this industry.
Right. I'd like to also talk about, how big and what is the potential like for the sleep and the mattress industry in India. If you can give us some numbers, if you can share some insights with us, for somebody who is a part of this industry would know much better, of course. But what really is the potential? I mean, nobody can really think of mattress or the sleep industry being such a huge part of the economy as well. So, globally and domestically, what is the potential of the Indian sleep and mattress market?
In terms of absolute numbers, we we have close to about 20 million mattresses that get sold in a year, and the industry itself is about, I would say easily about 19,000 crores. The good part is a fair bit of this industry is already organized. Roughly about 42% is organized out of the branded players, which contribute to the overall industry. But again, in terms of the consumer funnel, if we were to look at it, this is one segment where the product offering goes into every house. Even within a large brand like Livpure, we might have a water purifier which could probably go into certain segment of target audience or consumers. But every home would need one mattress and a dozen of pillows and bed sheets put together. So these are items which keeps getting replenished. There's a lot of hygiene element to it. There's a lot of comfort element to it, and one size doesn't fit all. So that's what I was been talking about in terms of personalization. So there's a lot of uptake in terms of the industry, and it's a growing trend as a double-digit growth rate. The e-com industry or the online industry, there were numbers which were also mentioned part of the session. That has contributed pretty immensely into the organized sector, grows at a healthy double-digit 20-25% odd, and online industry is roughly about 1,500, and that's setting a lot of trends in terms of what the consumers would need for this category.
My last couple of questions is that when it comes to the sleep in the bedding industry and the mattress industry, there is so much that goes into it. It's not just a mattress, it's design, it's packaging. So it's also very important to ask you, and I have been asking this question, how important is design and packaging when it comes to the mattress industry?
Packaging plays a key role, not just from, I would say, the logistics and the logistics efficiency. Packaging also plays a key role from how the consumer perceives the product, because that's a first touch point. And the biggest disruption that happened in this industry was a bed in a box or a bed in a bag, where packing a large mattress, a 6 by 6 feet mattress, into a 2 by 2 feet box and handing it over to the customer in a bag or a box. I think that was one of the biggest disruptors. Aesthetics plays a huge role. At the end of the day, we might call it out saying that this is still a product which goes under the sheets and not something where people like some flamboyance. But again, this is the first touch point. Ultimately, you're kind of trying to latch onto that surface for about good 8 hours of your day's time.
Right.
And with post-COVID, there is also a big extension in terms of people spending more hours on the cot, working, reading, and for whatever reasons, a good 8 hours of sleep. So aesthetics plays a key role. Designs, touch, feel, the texture. We also work. So we have one of our differentiating factors has been that we give different textures and looks to our mattresses, and rather than plain white or the sober colors, we look at some vibrancy and good textures in terms of our product, which I feel is essential from stimulating the sleep itself.
Which brand of mattress do you sleep on?
I sleep on Livpure mattress.
That's good to know. I'd like to end by asking that what is the vision, what is the roadmap, maybe in the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years for Livpure in this particular segment, and what can we expect? If you can give us a sneak peek and a message for people who don't take their sleep very seriously, what would you like to say?
All
The
right.
two questions.
So first question first. I'll mention that again, for a brand like us, we would like to be the disruptors in this category. It's been a category where for a good number of years there have been limited choices of materials and selection to the customer, which, as I mentioned, in the last 5-6 years has been changing. So we would like to play a leader in this category by offering newness in terms of materials, redefine the comfort and take the comfort offered to the customer to the next level. For me, the biggest bet that we would play as a brand is in terms of how much of a personalization can I offer in this category. If me and my spouse were on to take a single mattress, can we have differentiating comfort on the same mattress, which is so personal to my spouse and so personal to me, and at the same time, both of us have that
Right.
level of comfort. So that's the kind of innovations we are trying to bring in, new chemistry, new innovations in terms of fabric feel, and completely fresh perspective in terms of how consumers need to look at this segment. The last message, which was my opening remark as well, out of all the species, it's only the human beings which take the sleep for granted. We don't stick to a sleep schedule. And these are programmed. There is a circadian rhythm which basically programs your sleep schedule. So it's very essential for both physical and mental restoration, and sleep is probably one of the most essential parts of our daily life.
Right. So
Thank-
a message from Mr. Ramakrishnan, of course, to take our sleep very seriously. But if you don't, then you have to, and you have to do it with Livpure solutions as well.
Right.
So thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Very much
It's your pleasure.
for the time.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Do watch out for India Mattresstech IME. This is the 9th edition happening in the national capital. And if you don't know enough about it already, go check out the website.
Thank you.